I'm covering the response to the environment, which is represented by the green bordered images. To begin, we have large trees, which represent photoperiodism. So large trees are pine trees that are deciduous, which is pretty rare considering conifers tend to be evergreens. Since they are deciduous trees, they shed their leaves during the fall in response to decreasing light levels and decreasing temperatures. Now, we also have spruce trees and mosses to an extent, which demonstrate phototropism. I don't have any images of spruce trees besides the ones in the background, and so spruce trees tend to grow towards sunlight in order to be able to absorb more of it and therefore create more sugar through photosynthesis. To an extent, mosses have a slightly different approach to this because they require shady and damp areas to grow and survive. Therefore, they tend to grow away from the sun, but of course, like some mosses do prefer the sunlight, so they do grow towards it. After that, we have mosquitoes and taxus and kinesis. So mosquitoes experience both taxus and kinesis when encountering carbon dioxide exhaled by animals or humans as an olfactory response. Mosquitoes are attracted towards carbon dioxide when they sense its presence and move towards the source to see if it can locate the organism that's exhaling. Additionally, they start moving faster towards this possible source as some organisms that the mosquitoes feed on move quickly. After that, we have stoats with nocturnal and diurnal activity. In the winter, stoats are nocturnal and travel much less in order to conserve energy. Yet in the summer, stoats become very active during the daytime. Because of this, stoats are considered both nocturnal and diurnal. And finally, we have fight or flight response with brown bears and moose. So, moose, when attacked by brown bears, will either run away from the attacking bears, usually when they're younger, or if they're in a herd, or will attack the brown bear if a parent is attempting to protect his child, or if it has nowhere to run.
For interspecies interactions, the territorial markings in animals, there will be the black bear and the gray wolf. The black bears often mark their territories by rubbing their bodies on trees and leaving their scents. This scent tells other species, such as gray wolves, that the trees are bear territory. For coloration in flowers, there is a pitcher plant and spruce beetles. The pitcher plant has large, rather purple flowers that droop on the top. These plants eat small animals such as spruce and black and bark beetles. The insects are mostly drawn to vibrant colors, but the plants also have attractive nectar. The insects slip and fall into the tall plant and are eaten. For predator warnings, there is the red fox and black-backed woodpecker. The black-backed woodpecker, when feels threatened by a red fox, often makes a call that sounds high, then ends with a whiny growl. This lets other woodpeckers know that danger may be nearby. Finally, for plant response to herbivory, there is the bog rosemary and the reindeer. The bog rosemary is a small poisonous evergreen shrub with pink and white flowers. If a reindeer consumes the bog rosemary, its nervous system would be damaged and the animal would be poisoned.
For the bird songs, the warbler species has two types of melodious songs. They have one song which is meant for attracting females, and the other song is used as a sense of territorial and guarding their own territory to ward off any other male birds. For coloration, I'm gonna stick with the warbler. So the brighter the male warbler is, the more attracted a female is, especially because she's able to identify the coloration of the warbler, and the bright yellow on their chest makes it easier for them to identify, therefore making them more attracted. And for the parent-offspring interaction, the parent-offspring interactions between porcupines in the red, the fathers don't really worry about the offspring too much. For the mother, on the other hand, the mother is very defensive of the territory, and the father is more in tuned with like the condition of the offspring. For courtship and mating, they're the bobcats. When signifying that they're ready to breed, females will rub their bodies against trees and then urinate on the trees afterward. This shows that the females of like that area are ready to have children. For after producing the offspring, the male will generally leave and the females are left to raise, care for, tend to, and feed the offspring. For foraging in bees and other animals, there's the fox. And the fox is a very much foraging animal because they tend to look for their food, especially since they are omnivores. They hunt small mammals, birds, and frogs, and also search for berries that they can eat.
So all of the animals that are outlined in blue demonstrate intraspecies cooperative behavior. So first is pack behavior, which is demonstrated by gray wolves. So essentially gray wolves are carnivores that attack animals like moose, caribou, and other deer-like animals for food. They hunt prey by fleshing it out, stalking it, or tricking it into a trap. And these wolves do this by working together in groups called packs. They're led by an alpha male and female wolf. The other members of the pack are generally their current offspring.
Oops.
Or their previous year's offspring, and the size of each pack of wolves ranges from 4 to 30 on average. So next is herd, flock, and schooling behavior. So herd behavior is demonstrated by caribou, and caribou live in a herd that is made up of bulls and cows that breed during specific seasonal times. And these herds allow them to deter some predators, and they migrate in these herds as groups between summer and winter to find new food, up to 400 miles between different sites. The caribou eat willow leaves, sedges, flowering tundra plants, and mushrooms. And in September, as the weather starts to change, they have to look to find more lichen, dried sedges, and small shrubs. So next is colonies and swarming. So this is demonstrated by black carpenter ants. So black carpenter ants, like ants, create colonies in dead logs and trees east of the Rockies. They exhibit colony behavior in that they have a highly ordered society that's made up of the queen ant, female worker and soldier ants, and males that die shortly after mating. And they also follow pheromone trails that other ants in the colony lay down to find food and other necessary items for the colony's survival that exhibit swarm behavior. And this colony is a highly efficient society that has different castes that accomplish different tasks. Finally is kin selection, and this is demonstrated by Central Russian bees. So in bee populations, generally the queen bee is the only female that reproduces, and aside from reproduction, the majority of tasks in the colony, such as scouting, foraging, and raising the young, are handled by sterile worker bees. And these worker bees work and exert all this energy even though they're incapable of reproducing to ensure the next generation survives. And they are acting altruistically towards the queen bee and their kin. They are also related to the queen. So this is kin selection in a sense that they are acting altruistically to ensure the survival of their relatives while they themselves are unable to pass down their own genes.